Okay, you may proceed, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Kevin Garland, and I'm the chair of the TO Live Human Resources Compensation and Labor Relations Committee. The clerk has confirmed that we have quorum, so I'd like to call meeting 6 of the TO Live Human Resources Compensation and Labor Relations Committee to order. This meeting is being held using the city's WebEx technology, with members and staff calling in or connecting by video conference or attending in person at Toronto City Hall. Because we are meeting remotely, we ask for your patience with any delays and technical issues. Members of the public can observe the meeting on YouTube. I would like to request that all staff keep their video turned off unless they need to speak or answer questions. This will make it easier for me as chair and for those watching on YouTube to observe members as they participate in the debate on each item and during votes. I also ask that all members and staff keep their microphones on mute unless you need to answer a question or speak. If any members wish to speak on an item, I ask that you wait until after staff is presented. Then, if you wish to speak, please make sure your video is on and raise your hand or unmute your mic and let me know, and I will create a speakers list. We have 4 items on the agenda, and there is also a new item that I would like to add to the agenda. This is a staff report regarding the voluntary separation program for TO Live. I would now ask the clerk to display the report on the screen, and then if we can have a vote to add this to the agenda, the clerk can post it online and provide access to it. All those in favor of adding this item to the agenda? Okay. Any opposed? That carries. Thank you. That will be item RY 6.5. Back to the agenda. We will consider the items in the order listed, and we will hold down any items that require a closed session discussion for consideration at the end of the meeting. Our first item is RY 6.1, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Staff Committee Framework. There is a staff report, and I'll ask the CEO, Clyde, to provide an overview, and I believe Priya is going to be involved in presenting this. Does anyone have any questions of staff on this item? And does anyone want to speak on this item? Okay, let's look at the overview of it. Clyde, is Priya going to present this?
Yes, thank you very much to the chair and thank you to the committee for meeting today. We're very happy to present this item to you the first time that the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee will be reporting to this committee, which they will continue to do. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you the Director of Capital Projects, Priya Malik, who is also the chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. And Priya, if you are on the line, if you could turn your camera on and your microphone and take it away. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Morning.
Morning, Priya.
Morning. How are you guys?
Good morning.
So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present on the TO Live's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. I hope you guys had a chance to review the presentation that was submitted along with the other materials. The presentation includes the framework for the TO Live's the committee works. And at this time, I would like to highlight the key items and provide highlights of the work that the committee has started and where we are at right now. So at TO Live, we're very excited to have formed this Diversity Inclusion Committee. The purpose of the committee is to provide an ongoing platform for the employees, their voices, and support with the integration of diversity inclusion into all aspects of our business. So the membership of the committee includes 10 members at this time. And we also have plans to have working groups for the committee. And at this stage, we have 10 members who have applied for the committee that will be part of the working group. The goal for the working group is to help with the key plans and objectives, which we will be developing underneath our 3 goals that we have decided and approved by the committee members. So we had a first kickoff meeting on October 1st. It was a very successful meeting where we went through all the details that are part of the presentation, and also provided the charter, and that was reviewed and approved at the committee. The committee also, as part of the charter, we reviewed our 3 goals, and it is very specific to all the 3 goals that we came up with. They are all very focused on the internal TO Live mission and internal TO Live, what we want to work on as a committee. So moving forward, we will be developing our working groups. And the goal for the working groups, as mentioned previously, is the plans and the objectives that the committee will develop under each one of the 3 goals. And then the committee will pass that on to the working groups, where they will focus on how to develop a plan, how to get the objectives, if we do want to measure some of the objectives that we have, and how do we do so. So as mentioned, we have 10 members at this stage, but we are looking forward to recruit more members based on the need and based on once we have a full plan in place. Just one other thing I would like to mention, in part of the membership, the 10 members, we have a really good representation at this stage from all departments of TO Live. And our plan is to, in terms of next steps, so the first committee meeting, we talked about all the charter, and as part of the next meeting, we plan to develop our goals and objectives for each of the goals so that we can start our working group meeting in 2021. That's all I have for the as for the presentation and as for the committee. If anyone has any questions?
That's great. Thanks very much, Priya. Really terrific work. Does anyone on the committee want to ask Priya any questions, or Clyde for that matter, about this committee and its opening framework? If no one has any questions,
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess I have one question and one concern. The first question is, 10 members on the committee, it feels large to me. Is that in order to give the widest possible representation on the committee, or but if you say it's, it's well attended, that's good, but it seems like a large committee, and large committees tend to be difficult to manage. So that's the first question. The second one is not so much of a question, but a concern, which is, my personal opinion is that the most challenging part of this whole initiative, which I fully support, obviously, and I think that the plan is terrific, is the recruitment part. That's the only way we're going to avoid having really well-qualified people from the usual groups and not enough qualified people from the groups we want to encourage. So I would urge the committee to spend a lot of time and effort and thought on outreach into the communities, letting people know, maybe in schools, maybe in colleges, universities, that what the opportunities are for people from all the backgrounds to get involved with TO.
I believe this is employees of TO Live that are sort of expected to be involved in this committee as opposed to outside the organization. But Clyde, you might want to clarify that.
Thank you very much to the chair, and thanks. Those are great questions and good concerns. Thank you, Steve, for voicing them. The first, can I address them in order? And Priya, I'm gonna throw to you as well, because I want you to have a moment. The number of membership, my understanding, Priya, was also that we were looking for representation, both across departments and from a wide group of people. We had a wonderful turnout, and people really wanted to be a part of this committee. So yes, it's a little bit big, but they have already had a meeting, 2 meetings actually, I think, and they went very well. Correct, Priya? They seem to be very, very engaged. You want to talk a little bit?
That's correct. Yeah. So we had our first meeting, as mentioned, and the 10 committee members are certainly part of a diverse representation from each department of TO Live, and we just wanted to make sure that every department was captured in it. So, the voice is pretty diverse within the committee. And to the second point about the internal, currently the committee is focused on internal TO Live. All the goals and objectives are for the internal employees. And if there is an educational part or training that we need to engage external parties, that will certainly be looked at as we move forward in agreement with the committee members.
And I'll just pick up on that as well, because Steve, what you've mentioned about recruitment is absolutely a critical part of what we need to address, and I agree. We've been talking about that certainly for not just recently. We've been talking about recruitment for over a year now in that area, but we clearly want to step up our efforts. And the committee will look at that. There's certainly, I think, part of what is important about the committee is also a signal that the company is making change, right? So it's also a signal that we're trying to address the issues before us. I think that also will help with recruitment and people seeing themselves and perceiving the company to be a company that is open and interested in employing all people in the city.
Yeah, I know it's focused on internal relations, but you don't get to deal with that issue unless you're already an employee. And I think if you're talking about systemic issues, recruitment has to be involved somehow. And I think the two are very closely connected. I don't know how you can separate them. And one of the stated goals of the committee was to support inclusion, diversity, and anti-racism in the arts in general. So that implies some outreach too.
So Priya, why don't we take that back and see if we can add that onto the goals? I think it's a great suggestion, and certainly the committee is open to doing that. I think. Thanks.
Certainly.
Councillor Fletcher, did you want something? Because I saw you speaking, but your mic was muted. I just wanted to draw it attention.
Sorry, is the chair there?
Yep.
I am. Yes, I'm here, Paula.
Yeah, you know what? Somehow I have all the typing for everything everybody says is coming up on my screen, and then it's covering over the button. And I've never seen this before on WebEx. So maybe Carol, can you tell me what that is, please? Maybe not.
Yes, just a moment. I'll have Nahom explain it. It's some updates to WebEx.
Hello, Councillor Fletcher. What you're seeing is the closed captioning. When folks in the meeting are speaking, the closed captioning can actually be turned off. I can assist you with that if you can give me a moment.
Yeah, it's covering my buttons up. So I'm happy if we do that.
If you hit the view button and go to the bottom of the drop-down menu, you can turn off closed captioning.
There's closed captioning. There, it's off now. Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sure, Priya, you understand that our board, you are talking to a board committee today, is very serious the issue of anti-Black racism and BIPOC inclusivity at TO Live. Can I confirm that you understand that? Yes?
That's correct.
In general, for the board and for our staff, and that I'm sure that your committee is an outcrop of that concern. So it's great that you have that. I'm wondering who's guiding the work of your committee. Is there a consultant, or who is working with you, or is just staff set this up?
But I'll answer that, and you can jump in if there is anything that I missed. So this is an internal committee. We do have a consultant that we have. It's part of our budget planning for 2020 and 2021, where the consultant will be. It's the same consultant we have used at TO Live, Kiki, and she will be assisting us during the entire planning of the committee works.
Okay, great.
And if I can just add, I believe the idea is that the committee will report back regularly to this committee so that we keep on track of it too as board members.
That's how it's been constituted, yes.
I think, of course, it should be constituted like this. This is the Human Resource Committee, and equity and diversity is a major human resource issue at TO Live and many other city divisions. I think it's great that we're doing this. So he has assisted you and works with your committee. guide you through this process. That's what I'm hearing from you, Priya, correct?
That's correct.
And I think the point that Steve is making is a larger TO Live issue, and it's not an internal issue, but it needs to be on the agenda, which is the kind of broader outreach into BIPOC communities to when the hiring is taking place, what that looks like. I don't believe that's an internal function. I believe that's a board function and a leadership function at TO Live. So it would be very helpful to understand what that's going to look like from you, Clyde. I'm looking at the screen. I've got two things going here, so I'm looking at you over here, but the sound is on my phone. So I think that's the next step, Kevin, is what does that look like as far as that recruitment policy?
Yeah, I could not agree more, Paula. And indeed, Clyde and I have been talking about how we're going to achieve that. I think we may be able to get to that a little bit later in the meeting and part of the in-camera.
Well, I don't see why that's an in-camera issue. I don't think it's in camera. I'd like to understand how that.
Sorry, it's actually it's related to another item on the agenda, and I don't actually think it is in camera. You're right. Yeah.
Thank you. Hiring diversity is certainly not an in-camera discussion. It is a very public discussion, and I'm having it now with our committee. And so I think that's great that we have an internal committee, because for all the reasons that Priya's outlined, but what we're missing is what our relationship with the larger community is from TO Live on a recruitment position. And I happen to know a little bit at the film board. We have a full operation in recruiting from diverse communities, from BIPOC communities. It's very important. So I think that part's missing. And I'm going to ask that be on the next agenda and that we get that report as to what that looks like and how we work with, and how this works for our theaters. It probably is something that would be good to have for all of the theaters and all of the arts. So internal works fantastic.
Yeah, very good point. I agree.
Thank you.
Sorry, did you want me?
Go off. I'm going to put the other one on, and then you're going to get a little bit of feedback, and then I'm leaving here. Sorry.
So, to the chair, I'm sorry. I think that there was a question there, but I'm not sure what the question was.
Well, I think the suggestion from Councillor Fletcher was that we, at the next meeting, add to the agenda how we're planning on, in our going forward hiring, which I know isn't actually happening right now, to ensure that we get diversity into the hiring process.
Right. Thank you very much. I think that that's a great suggestion to add that to the meeting. Councillor, I don't know if you can hear me because you stepped away, so I just want to make sure that you are able to hear me. Okay.
I'm good.
Great. Thank you. So thank you for adding that. Certainly we can come back. I want to remind the HR committee, certainly this is public knowledge, that out of the around 700 people that we employ currently, over 600 of them are currently on furlough and laid off. Only 39 people are remaining in the company. We expect there's certainly... I'm sorry, yes. Councillor,
No, we're not hiring, but we still have a plan in the theater schools and all those kinds of things. So that's fine. I get that, Clyde. We're not hiring right now.
Right.
I understand that, Councillor, but I just am trying to address your question. Do you want to let me talk, or do you want to?
No, that's fine.
Are you okay if I talk? Are you okay if I talk now? Or are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm just giving you context. I think that's okay?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So certainly you understand that there's only 39 people out of close to 700 still employed, and we expect there to be some open positions at the end. And certainly we have a robust dedication to reaching out to the communities that you've talked to and talked about. This is not new. Certainly you can see our HR policy, which the board passed over about a year and a half ago. But certainly it's a renewed effort in this area. And I think that the idea of coming up with a more detailed plan around this and a strategy is a great one. I encourage us to be able to do that. I also want to remind you in the letter that we sent to the board that we've dedicated ourselves to filling a certain number of positions with minority communities, and we are on track to do that when we are able to rehire. So thank you very much to the councillor for bringing that up, and I'd be very happy to bring that back to the committee the next time we meet.
Great. Thanks, Clyde.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any other questions for Priya or Clyde on this item? Or anything they want to say, in which case, I'd like to move that we adopt I'm not sure, does this report actually have recommendations? I guess it does, and I'd like to move that, have someone move to adopt the recommendations in the report.
I'll move that, but I'd also like to thank the staff and our committee for initiating this work and pulling all of this together in a formal way. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Paula. That's appreciated. All those in favor? Okay, any opposed? The motion carries.
Madam Chair, before you move on to item 2, it's Carol here. I just need you to do a couple of procedural things, and I didn't catch it at the start of the meeting. I just need you to ask whether there's any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act and get a motion to confirm the minutes from the February 12th meeting.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't on my script, but I can't even imagine how you put all these scripts together, so I'm very impressed, Carol. Can I just ask whether there are any conflicts of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? I think that's what it's called. Seeing none. And can I just have an approval of the minutes of the February 12th meeting of this committee? I'm assuming that that's an approval. So can we now carry on? Our second item is RY 6.2, the bargaining mandate for negotiations with IATSE Local 58 at the Meridian Arts Center. This is a report that has recommendations and a confidential attachment. So I'm going to ask the President and CEO, Clyde, to provide an overview. And actually, we have 3 of these, so I think we could perhaps have the public overview of all 3 of them. There's a bargaining mandate with IATSE Local 58 at the Meridian Arts Center, at the St. Lawrence Center for the Arts, and I think there was another one. Oh, IATSE Local 822 at the St. Lawrence Center. So if we could perhaps have an overview of all 3 of those, that might be a little bit more efficient.
Great, thank you to the chair. Thank you to the chair and to the committee. As we have done many times before in the past years that we've been together, the time is coming up again where the agreements are coming to the end of their term, and we're relooking to go into negotiations with our local IATSE team members for a renewal of these agreements and new terms. The terms are outlined in the document that you have attached, and we will we're asking for the committee to consider that.
Right. Does anyone have any questions, public questions of Clyde on this item? In that case, I'd like to hold all 3 of these down until the end of the meeting, because that will require a closed session discussion. Okay, all those in favor?
Madam Chair, you may want to deal with your new business item, which is item 5, the voluntary separation program, before you move the motion to go into closed session.
Okay, can we then, that item was added to the agenda, and I'm assuming everyone is okay with discussing it. I'd like to therefore ask Clyde to give us an overview of this item, the voluntary separation issue for the TO Live staff.
Great, thank you very much. Bill Millen is also on the call, and if there are questions around finance, it's also we're available to answer those as well. This is a program that was put forward by the City of Toronto, so certainly the councillor will be very familiar, I'm assuming, with the program because it's, I believe, being rolled out citywide. It's part of the COVID response. It is an offer for retirement for those people who are in after many years of service. It's a package which is being offered to those people. We have a few people in the company who are there, and we only learned very recently, last week, that the city funding for this for the agents is available. So we wanted to bring it as soon as possible to the committee to consider it because certainly we are ending the end of the year and there are timing issues and stuff like that. But we thought it's a very positive thing and something for us to think about. Bill, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, I think you summarized it nicely.
I mean, I think it's really great that since it's a citywide thing that our staff are being included in it, and I'm sure it'll be very welcome for a number of people who are senior in the organization. Does anyone have any questions of Clyde or Bill about this? Does anyone want to speak to it? In that case, I'm going to move that we adopt the recommendation in the report or ask someone else to move it. Maybe Steve, you could do that. Hello?
So moved.
Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Great, the motion carries.
We
now
can
have, hello?
Hi, it's
Hi,
Carol.
Carol.
We can put the motion on
Yeah.
the screen for you if that helps to go into closed session.
Sure, thank you. I guess I have to say it, do I? Well, I'd like to move that we now go into closed session. There we are. Yeah.
Would you like me to read the motion, Madam Chair?
I don't think we need to read it. I think everyone can see it. It's pretty straightforward. So, is there anyone who is objecting to going into closed session on these items? In that case, I'd like to have the motion moved and let's go into closed session.
You should just do a quick vote on that, Madam Chair, and then we'll shut the
Sorry.
public session down.
Yeah. Thank you. That's unanimous.
Okay, we just need a moment.
Thank you.
Just need to confirm that the people connected to the meeting can stay in the meeting. Okay, we're back in public session. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. So I believe we have to make 3 motions here. First of all, can I have a motion for accepting the to adopt the staff recommendations on bargaining mandate for negotiations with IATSE Local 58 at the Meridian Arts Center, please? Somebody moving that? I'm sorry, I have a very tiny screen.
So moved.
Thanks. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. And then secondly, can I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendations on the bargaining mandate for negotiations with IATSE Local 58 at the St. Lawrence Centre for the Arts?
So moved.
Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. And then finally, can I have a motion to approve the bargaining mandate or adopt the staff recommendations for the bargaining mandate for negotiations with IATSE Local 822 at the St. Lawrence Centre for the Arts?
So moved.
Thanks, Jillian. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. And I believe that concludes our business for today. So I'd like to have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Could I just ask before that, Chair?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Thank you. Just ask the clerk, because generally there is a pretty clear rule that city committees and boards don't go the same time as standing committees. So I'm not sure how we got into the executive being on the same day. I wonder if Carol could explain that.
Madam Chair, I'm not 100% sure. I think this meeting was scheduled quite some time ago as a committee meeting. And then I think the council calendar changed and we left the meeting in the books.
COVID
I think it
changes.
was a bit of an
Okay.
oversight. Yeah.
I think it's a COVID, one of those COVID things. Got it. Thank you. There's many COVID things. This is just one of them. Thank you.
Great. So if there are any other, no other questions, I'm going to adjourn the meeting and guess we'll see you all in about 45 minutes. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining the meeting this morning.
Thank you.